I just did this little exercise where I allowed the part of me that's hurting the most to speak to me in a mirror. And I've been going back and forth on this decision about where I should be living, right? And I've been in so much pain that my mind can get convinced, thinking like, oh, we've made the wrong choice, we've got to go in a different direction, etc. And so I finally just let this really hurting part of me speak to me in the mirror. And it was interesting that he said, I don't want to be here. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the next thing he said is, I don't want to be at that other place either, that I was going back and forth on, and that my mind has convinced me that if I just go to that other place, then I'll feel better, right? And then my wounded inner child continued to say, I don't want to be anywhere. It's like, these parts of us are in so much pain, they don't want to be here at all. So a lot of times when we think we need to change our circumstances to feel better, that might temporarily work, but this part that doesn't want to be here at all and isn't going to be happy in any circumstance or any relationship or any job or with any amount of money, etc., etc., etc. It's like that part's going to keep coming back up to be met, and eventually we're going to have to face him or her. And that's the pathway to real freedom, right? That's the pathway to like, okay, we don't have to keep changing our circumstances to temporarily feel better. And that's, I think, what the universe, what Earth is trying to do right now, is to liberate us from these parts of us that just don't want to be here at all, that just hate life, that have been so hurt and so abused and so violated, that they are just done with life. They've been so neglected and so abandoned emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and just on every level. They're so hurt that they literally don't want to be here at all. And these parts, I feel, exist within a lot of us in the collective, and these parts are coming up right now. And it's hell, it's torment, it's torture. It feels like it's never ending. We might get these inner dialogues going like, we've done something wrong, we must have messed up, we must be out of alignment, however we use spirituality to really condemn ourselves, right? These parts of us, like these inner dialogues, are going to be surfacing right now. And so it's so important to know you haven't done anything wrong. You're on the right path. You're just feeling a lot of pain. I mean, it was that bad for you in early childhood. It was that bad for you in past lives, okay? You were in that much pain. Some of us, a lot of us, almost everyone watching this channel, we were so sensitive. We are so sensitive. We came into this lifetime ripped wide open. And, some of the things we have been through, we can't imagine the pain we were in. And so we had to numb out, we had to suppress it, we had to shove it down. A lot of us, we really didn't want to be here, when we were young. And those parts, they're coming up right now to be met. And so the more tender you can be with these parts, the more soft you can be with them, the more compassionate, the more patient you can be with them. We don't want to just try to get rid of these parts so we can feel better, right? These parts don't need a fixing. They don't need different circumstances. They just need you to be with them. They need you to find ways to meet their emotional needs, which can be really, really difficult, because a lot of times meeting our emotional needs requires other people. I know for myself, I've booked myself sessions once a week going forward for however long, because I know that's what I need. And it's easy to convince ourselves that we don't need help, that we don't need other people, that we don't need relational healing. But a lot of times the parts that don't want to be here, they need other people. They need that kind of support too. So I'm just making this video to really encourage you guys, do whatever you need to meet your needs right now, because so much is coming up, and this pain can feel so excruciating and so intense, and it can be so overwhelming for our humanity, okay? So, like I said, it's the parts of us that just don't want to be here, and these are some of the most difficult parts to face. And eventually we have to face them, and we can kind of avoid them for, as long as life will let us, but eventually we really have to meet these parts of us head on. And doing it with just the most love and compassion and patience and understanding for these parts is the best way that I found. They want to go slow. They want tenderness. They want understanding. It's like these parts, they want to know how much you care about them, how much you're willing to kind of do what it takes to finally get their needs met. And a lot of times that means avoiding distractions, because they can feel that. They can feel like, oh, I'm being avoided and neglected again, right? A lot of times it means investing in yourself, like signing up for this course, might be really helpful. Going and getting that yoga membership. If church is your thing, going to church every Sunday, meeting with the pastor, meeting with bishops, meeting with people who can really meet these parts and start to help them start to rehabilitate, right? And then, of course, most of all, you meeting these parts with love, allowing God to meet these parts, is oftentimes really what's called for. But just showing these parts, like when you invest in yourself, it's like showing these parts that you care. When you don't distract yourself when these parts come up, it's showing these parts that they're not going to be abandoned, they're not going to be neglected, that there's a loving space here. There's an unconditionally loving adult here that is willing to sit with them, even when they're wanting to just die, even when they're just like in so much pain that they would just want to be anywhere else. It's like, for them to feel that there's an unconditionally loving parent here, it's so transformative for these parts. And then these parts get to come alive. They get to, you get to feel like these parts are integrated into your being again. So many of these parts, they've just been like left for dead, literally left for dead. And now death is emerging in the collective. The parts of us that have been like so numb and so frozen, they've just basically been dead, they're coming up. And like I said, it can be hellfire. You can be in like Dante's Inferno. I don't know what the hell his book was called, but that was something that came to me. I was like, oh shit, this is what Dante wrote about, what I'm going through right now, what we're all probably, a lot of us are going through. So if you're in hell, if you're struggling to figure out, why am I feeling this way? What am I doing wrong? It's nothing like that. It's just like, this is what Earth is showing us right now. This is what Gaia, this is what this ascension process is uncovering. It's uncovering the parts of us that it's like, yeah, we were in that much pain. Sometimes it's unimaginable how much pain we were in when we were little, which is why we had to find ways to not feel it and find ways to push it away and store it somewhere in our body. It's because it was that painful. We didn't have the emotional capacity or bandwidth to be able to be with it. We were just little kids, and gosh, a lot of us are so sensitive, and we're so sensitive as little kids. And so we just took everything on like 10x, 100x, and it's like, now we have the emotional bandwidth. We have the ability to be with this, to be with these feelings again. So now we're getting the opportunity to meet them again. And sometimes it doesn't feel like we have the emotional bandwidth. And that's why I said, find people that can help you, find spaces. It doesn't always have to be a healer or a therapist or a spiritual teacher. It can be friends that can meet you at your depth. It can be dyads. There's lots of free spaces. There's communities. Like I said, yoga studios. I mean, it can be really anything that works for you, that helps you cultivate resource, which is a very common name, very common terminology among somatic healers. So whatever is resourceful for you, during these times, go find that. The last thing my really wounded inner child said to me today, when he was like, I don't want to be here, but I also don't want to be there. It's not about here or there. It's like, I just don't want to be here at all. And then he said, feed me, I'm hungry. So that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go to this really nice cafe and get him some just delicious comfort food. Try to keep it a little healthy. We'll see. But that's all we got to do. Like, connect to these parts, ask them what they need, meet them at their level. And you might be surprised what they say. Sometimes it's just simple, like, I need some food. Sending you all so much love. We're all in this together. This will pass. And on the other side of it, you will know your strength even more, and you will have you'll have so much more of yourself will be integrated. There will be, I really feel like we're going through a big doorway into more joy, more expansiveness, more, just knowing our true essence. And on the other side is like, there's going to be more of our true self will emerge, and there will be less pain, and there will be less of this trauma stuck in our body. Because whether we like it or not, whether from an egoic perspective we like it or not, Earth is pulling it up right now. And it's getting a little stormy outside where I'm at too. So it's amazing how the weather patterns kind of match my internal patterns too. And I don't know, you guys might have that same experience. But I'm gonna end this video now, just sending you guys love. Hang in there, we got this.